Highlander 4, also known as Highlander Endgame. Why the fuck does this movie have an ultimate 2-disc collection? With a commentary, making ofs that are at least like 50 minutes long, 2 versions of the film. This piece of shit gets it. This isn't even the worst one. This is the fucking worst one, which I'll get to. But this one, right off the bat, I'm not much into the Highlander TV show. I know it ran for about 6 or so seasons. Then you had another TV show called Highlander the Raven. I've seen bits and pieces of the show, enough to know it just isn't my cup of tea. Just not my cup of tea at all. I much prefer the first 3 movies. That's just, in my opinion. So I never cared to see a combination of these 2 characters in the same movie. And I think that's one of the big things about this movie. The story, in my opinion, sucks. Along with other stuff. And when you look at the show, it's one of those things I keep saying. There can be only one. Then the next one, oh, there's more than one. There could be only one. Then it gets to one. You know, in Highlander, there was only one left. Then all of a sudden, there's a fucking TV series. And then they pull bullshit reasons out of their ass. Based on the first movie, the TV show, let alone this movie, shouldn't exist. But you're supposed to just ignore it. He got the prize in the first movie, and now he's mortal. And nope, now there's like... Apparently he knew Adrian Paul way back hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Even though in the first movie, again, there could only be one. So really, this movie shouldn't exist based on the movies. And that's why just make it their own separate things. Make Highlander the TV series its own universe, and make the movies their own universe. Again, that's why the idea of these two come together does not make sense story-wise. It's directed by a guy named Douglas Aarniokoski. I don't even know what the guy's done. Doug, I guess, went on to do TV work like Arrow. I guess he was a second unit director on certain movies. And he didn't really direct too many movies after this, which makes fucking sense. This was released by Dimension Films. And I guess if you saw the theatrical cut, it's even more of a mess because a lot of shit was cut out to the point of being incomprehensible. Yeah, the director was a first assistant director on From Dusk Till Dawn, The Faculty, Spy Kids. Then he was a second unit director on The Medallion, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Resident Evil Extinction. And then he directed episodes of Arrow, The Flash, Sleepy Hollow, the TV show Limitless. What do you fucking do? Adrian Paul, he's there as an actor for me. I'm not big on him, but I don't think he's awful. He's definitely more studied in sword fighting, sword play, because for those that don't know, Christopher Lambert, he has bad vision. So that's why his sword fights are more broader, while Adrian Paul is a bit more skilled, has more experience training in sword fighting. With that said, I still prefer Christopher Lambert over Adrian Paul. But Adrian Paul is not the problem with the movie, honestly. Bruce Payne is your villain. He was the villain in Passenger 57. I think he was in that Dungeons and Dragons movie. And Bruce Payne is chewing the fucking scenery. Not only that, he burned it down and then ate the ashes and shit it out. And then went in the toilet with his head in it and swallowed that fucking scenery up again. Donnie Yen is in this. He was I think he was the main martial arts choreographer. Donnie Yen, for a little bit, he has the best scene in the movie, the fight he has with Adrian Paul. Honestly, he should have been the villain. I don't know what Donnie Yen thinks of nowadays. He probably was upset he was a part of this, and if so, I don't blame him, because I like Donnie Yen. I've reviewed some of his movies. Ip Man, Ip Man 2, Legend of the Fist, Flashpoint. I enjoy those films. He's done bad films like Iceman, which even that's worse than this. That's how bad Iceman is, but it has piss poor editing, even in the longer cut. Has a shitty story. They do a bad job with Christopher Lambert's character because his character just comes off as either sad sack or upset about being immortal or fucking crazy. And of course, when you go into this film, you know it's going to be the story of a passing down the torch. And because there can be only one, that means he's going to die. So you have the bit where Adrian Paul cuts Christopher Lambert's head off. And Adrian Paul gets Christopher Lambert's power. And even that quickening is nothing to it. It's like on a rooftop that if you watch the theatrical cut, there's a big fucking red sign with JVC in white letters, and you literally, when you watch this, see that they blurred it out in the background for this cut of the movie. And story-wise, I don't know, it's a film that has a shitload of fucking flashbacks. This is probably the movie that has the most flashbacks of any of the fucking Highlander films. The backstory is Bruce Payne was one of these people that got Christopher Lambert's mom and said, "Do you renounce your son or we're going to burn you for witchcraft because you gave birth?" Connor MacLeod, Lambert's character, tries to save his mom, doesn't succeed, a fight breaks out, and the father of Bruce Payne dies, and then Bruce Payne gets stabbed, but he doesn't die because he's an immortal. So it's many years later. You have a scene where I guess the character from the first movie, Rachel, she goes into Christopher Lambert's apartment, answers the phone, blows it up. That explosion happens 10 years before this film. I guess they did the 10 years thing to explain why Christopher Lambert is not on the TV show, which ran for like 6 or so seasons. I guess that's why. But I guess during that whole time, Christopher Lambert's character has just been chained up in this thing called the Sanctuary, where they're in this like coma on purpose, and it's supposed to be a place that they're safe, but yet you would think they would put it on holy ground. They even have people that look like monks, which is one of the rules of Highlander. You don't fight on holy ground, otherwise you get kicked in the ass with a 10-foot dick. I guess in the theatrical they said it was holy ground, but then in this they took it out, but then it just makes the characters fucking stupid because you're going, well, wait a minute. You're putting these people locked up, blindfolded, in this chemically induced coma, whatever the hell it is. Wouldn't you put them on holy ground to make it a little bit more safe? So no matter how you look at it, if it was on holy ground, like I guess in the theatrical, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just Bruce Payne's character breaking the rules with no consequence. Or it's not holy ground, which makes all the characters fucking stupid. And yeah, a lot of shit doesn't make sense in Highlander 2, The Quickening. But that was fun. That was fun. Yeah, Michael Ironside was fun. The batshit insanity and the action scenes were fun. This wasn't fun except the one fight scene that Donnie Yen has with Adrian Paul. Everything else is not fun. It's just shit that doesn't make sense. Somehow the watchers, the people who watch the Immortals, they keep a head count. This is how many this guy decapitated. How the fuck did you keep count? Were you there on day 1? Day 5? And also, does it matter how many heads you cut off? If you cut 5 heads off, they may have the power of a fucking mouse fart. But then if you cut this one person's head off, but that one person killed 50 people and cut 50 immortals' head off, that one is going to be more powerful than the 4 or 5 that person cut. So does the number of immortals, like if you killed 100 immortals, but if they were the most powerful immortals, you'd be more powerful than this guy who killed 600, but they were all the power of a fucking AAA battery. See, this is the shit you think of when you're getting bored. There's a lot of fucking flashbacks. There's flashbacks very briefly on how these two met, which you would think would be a bigger flashback, but it's not. It's just Connor MacLeod, Christopher Lambert going, "Hey, how's it going? You're in the muck and in this war field, huh? Get your ass up." That's pretty much the scene. There's a longer flashback where the two are fighting these assholes back in the day to impress this lady. And Edge, the wrestler, Adam Copeland Edge, he's in that scene, which when he talks is very out of place considering the time period. And I was talking about the editing in the fight scene between Adrian Paul and Bruce Payne. There's literally a moment they repeat, and the filmmakers were too stupid enough to realize it. Okay, imagine Adrian Paul is fighting Bruce Payne, right? Adrian Paul does like a twirl and a front kick to Bruce Payne's face, like a roundhouse kick. Like he does this, goes around with his right leg, kicks up into Bruce Payne's face, and then he tries to hit with the sword, and Bruce Payne ducks. Then the fight goes on, and they're fighting on a catwalk, and then Adrian Paul falls over, and then they do the scene again. The fucking kick, boom, block. I'm like, you just reused the scene twice. I mean, that's like if you're made to. These people got paid for it. If you're doing something for fun, for shits and giggles, and you made a mistake, oops, oh well. This is something you're paying someone to do. A bunch of people, you would think. Considering it says here, is this fucking correct? It says on the back of this DVD 3 editors, but then if you go on Wikipedia, 6 editors. Christopher Blunden, Michael N. New, ACE, and Robert A. Ferretti, ACE. What does ACE stand for anyway? And the others they don't mention is Tracy Grainer, Donald Peonessa, and Rod Dean. ACE, what the hell does that stand for? A cocksucking extremist? What the music sucks. I mean, we're going from a long way from like Queen on the soundtrack, and I like the music in the Highlander too. Here, I don't remember a fucking piece of music in this. The Weinsteins were executive producers because this was Dimension Films. This film did not do well. They cost like 25 million and made like 15 million. I think Adrian Paul was unhappy. That's why at first he did not want to do this movie. And he should have fucking stayed with that train of thought. At least this film, I will say, looks like a film that would be in theaters. Unlike this, which looks like a Sci-Fi Channel, because it was. It premiered on Sci-Fi Channel. I'll get to that. I mean, the rest of the movie, again, there's a shitload of flashbacks, which got annoying really quick. There's a flashback where these two guys are training each other in fencing and going back and forth. And Connor MacLeod, Christopher Lambert shows this move that's unstoppable. It's about getting the sword in the back and doing this. I'm like, if that move is so unstoppable, then why the fuck did we not see Christopher Lambert do it in the first 3 fucking movies? You would think he would use that move, considering he trained Adrian Paul in what, the 1700s, wherever the hell it was. But in the end of the first movie, when he's facing off against Clancy Brown, he's not doing that move, was he? Or when he, Mario Van Peebles. I don't even know if the third movie exists in this timeline, the Final Dimension. And watching movies like this is why I can say the Final Dimension is okay. Watching movies like this is why I can have fun with Highlander 2. As much as that doesn't make sense either, but it's like, this is fucking so insane, it's fun. I'll keep repeating that. This, though, I forget how this worked. There was this one girl who Adrian Paul liked, and I don't know shit about the TV show. Doing a little bit of I could be wrong, but I guess Adrian Paul's terrier wasn't married on the show, but in this he was at one point. And that girl, for some reason, I don't understand this. I must have missed something. So I won't blame the movie on this for now. He fucking stabs his wife. I guess she's an immortal too? I mean, we find out she's immortal, but I guess he knew about it. And the best way to tell her was to stab her when she was asleep. Or maybe there's something about there's a way to make someone immortal. I didn't understand the shit. I will admit. It flew over my fucking shaved head. I didn't understand the shit. And you know what? I don't fucking care. There's a moment where Adrian Paul is looking at the remains of Christopher Lambert's place, because I'm going all over the place on the story. When Christopher Lambert is in his self-induced exile of coma that should be in a holy ground, but it's not, but it is if you see a different cut. But then either one doesn't make sense. I always explained that. Talked about that. For some reason, Bruce Payne lets him go. I don't know why. While he kills all the other guys there. And then Adrian Paul is wondering if Connor MacLeod is dead, if Christopher Lambert's dead. Goes back to Christopher Lambert's burned up place. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't that shit blow up 10 years ago? So the house is still blown up 10 years after? This house wasn't blown up 10 seconds ago. It was blown up 10 years ago. You're telling in 10 years they didn't clean up the place? Did I miss something? I might have missed something, because this movie was fucking giving me a headache. And sometimes you get a headache, you miss stuff. I will admit, I'm not perfect. And then, even though he's on like the second, third floor, people are flying through with motorcycles. Did they steal the fucking shit in Highlander too? Like the shit in Masters of the Universe He-Man, put him on the fucking motorcycle and be a motor craft? Like, motor hovercraft? What the hell? So they go on a motorcycle, and you get a decent fight. When Adrian Paul is fighting these guys, you could tell Adrian Paul is good with a sword. And then he has his one-on-one fight with Donnie Yen. At first, Donnie Yen, I forget the weapon he has, but it's like a staff with a blade at the end. That's decent choreography. And then they go on a little one-on-one fight. And Donnie Yen he was the best thing in this movie. And he was misused. That's probably why he went back overseas to do better movies. Like Flashpoint, like Legend of the Fist, like the Ip Man movies. Mainly the first two. Then this one guy stupidly shoots Adrian Paul through a window, and Bruce Payne gets pissed. And Bruce Payne, some of the lines he dialogue, he fucking says the line, I should have said this at the beginning, or I might have already said it, I already fucking PTSD over it to forget. But Bruce Payne says, I want you inside me. No, he says something like, don't you want to be inside me? I'm like, did you just have your villain ask our heroes, don't you want to be inside me? And it's not about fucking. It's like, hey, cut my head off. Don't you want to be inside me? This is how, like, no one on set, not the writers, not the director, not the actors, thought, you know what, uh, don't say that line, say it a different way. No, Bruce Payne saying, don't you want to be inside me? This, this movie wants to be inside me. That's why it smells like shit. This fucking movie is shit. And then you have some people going, why do people hate this movie? The shit I'm fucking saying. Taking a shit on Christopher Lambert's character. Oh, now he's just depressed, and then he goes crazy, and it's like, we can't stop him on our own. I guess Christopher Lambert says, you're better than me, Adrian Paul. You're better than me, so cut my head off. We don't have this fight that cut my head off. Wow, what a shitty way for Christopher Lambert's character to go. For this character, I don't give a fuck because I didn't give a fuck about the TV show. I didn't fucking watch it. I don't care. Fucking thank you. Asshole. Yeah, the character that I like and was watching, no, passing the torch because Adrian Paul's better and he's going to go on. What, go on to one fucking horrendously shitty movie. Thank God for that. Thank goodness. And then you have the stupid thing where Donnie Yen dies in this stupid way from editing, where Bruce Payne has a sword that makes two swords, and people are just sitting there going, da 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 da, cuts one guy's head off. And then, like, one guy's, like, smiling, gets his head cut off. And then Donnie Yen's staying there. I'm like, we're supposed to buy Bruce Payne, beat Donnie Yen. Of course, if you watch the word print, Donnie Yen put a sword to a wall and cut his own head off. Which, that's fucking stupid, too. Why didn't you fucking do what Christopher Lambert did? If the fucking... Or run away, or fucking try to fight or something. But even with the editing here, it just looks even more dumber. And I guess in the word print, Bruce Payne cut everyone's head off at the same time. It wasn't just waiting one by one, which it is in this edit, which is fucking stupid. Fucking dumb. And then you think he killed the girl, but then at the end of this, he didn't kill the girl, which doesn't make any fucking sense. You have an appearance by this character named Mythos. I guess he's from the TV show. And Joe, this Watcher guy who is a friend of Adrian Paul in the show. The fight at the end I thought sucked. This is one point where they're fighting amidst all these hanging chains. I'm like, is fucking Pinhead gonna come out amongst all this fucking chains? Like, seriously, it looks like the lair of the fucking Cenobites with all these fucking chains hanging down. Do they have places like that in real life? All these hanging chains? If it's a movie I give a fuck, I wouldn't care. But since it's a movie I don't give a fuck, I do care. Just all these hanging chains. I'm waiting for Chatterer and Butterball and fucking other Cenobites come out and take them to hell. That's where this fucking... I'm spitting. This is where this fucking movie belongs, in hell. It'd go to hell, hell, hell. And this video wasn't supposed to be this fucking long, but it is getting there. God damn it. I don't care. Don't care. And then he does this maneuver that he jumps over. Oh, the maneuver that's the unstoppable maneuver that Christopher Lambert showed him. No, sorry, Connor MacLeod, you were wrong about that too. It's not unstoppable because Bruce Payne did stop it because he has another blade in his fucking wrist and stabs the shit out of Adrian Paul. And then Adrian Paul summons the power of Christopher Lambert and then does a flip and cuts the villain's head off almost too fucking easily. Almost anticlimactic. And then I swear I remember trailers, which never in any cuts of the movie, where there was like a clone of Bruce Payne. He's using more magical, mystical powers. There was one shot where he had like Christopher Lambert's face in his little ball. I think he like stopped his sword in midair. None of that's in the movie, in any cuts in the movie. You can find some of the trailers though. Fuck, I don't even want to look up goddamn info in this movie. I don't even know what else to say about it. It's a piss poor story. Horrible usage of Christopher Lambert's character. He's not in it for a good chunk of the movie, and then when he's in it, it's just getting sad, depressed, or crazy. Almost as what they did with fucking Luke Skywalker, The Last Jedi. Is Ryan Johnson a big fan of Highlander Endgame? Is that where he got his ideas from? Probably one of Ryan Johnson's favorite fucking movies. Adrian Paul, I don't think he's horrible, but I just don't give a shit about him as the lead. Maybe because I don't give a shit about the TV show. Then the problems in story, editing, Bruce Payne, terrible dialogue he's given. He's really hamming it up, but to me, not in a fun way. Like Marvin Van Peebles, Michael Irons, like Clancy Brown, they were fun. Bruce Payne, which is awful. And again, that line, "Don't you want to be inside me?" Or where the fuck it was. And I don't want to talk about this fucking movie anymore. I really don't. This movie's a piece of shit. If people like it, fine, but you actually explain why. How, the shit that doesn't make any fucking sense. The shitty usage of Christopher Lambert. How, like, the only decent fight scene is the one with Donnie Yen, who's an underutilized, goes out a bullshit way. Again, you could have made him the fucking villain of the movie. And this melding of the movie and TV show that just doesn't work. If you saw the first fucking movie, it doesn't make sense. If you saw this fucking movie, it doesn't make sense. This franchise has so many fucking retcons, it's fucking ridiculous. The second movie doesn't exist. So you have this movie. Then you did this movie, so I guess this movie didn't fucking exist. And then there could be only one. But no, there's not only one. Because there's 50 fucking more. It gets to a point where it's like, oh, it doesn't fucking matter. It just doesn't matter. I feel like Bill Murray meatballs. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Fuck this fucking movie, man. And what's sad, this is still fucking worse. God damn it, man. Other than that, I remember the trailer had a Rob Zombie song. I don't know, that just popped in my head. I got nothing else to say. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay tuned for the last of the Highlander reviews, thankfully. Because after this one and this one, it's enough. Highlander, the source of shit. Later.